Hello everybody, DonTheCrown here, and I am incredibly excited to talk about the new Torchlight Infinite season that's coming up on January 9th. They just dropped a massive reveal video with a whole bunch of cool information, and realistically, I think that Torchlight Infinite is probably my favorite ARPG right now. It has definitely got a ton of just awesome stuff, great quality of life, cool crafting, just really fast gameplay. There's a ton of different builds that always pop up. They always are mixing up the end game and adding new systems, adding new mechanics, buffing, nerfing stuff. The amount of stuff that they put into a the single season or single league is just absolutely just completely wild, especially comparing it to a lot of the other ARPGs that are out there right now. And I just really want to hop into what's going on. So pretty much this season is going to be it's called the Arcana season. And it's all about tarot cards. We're going to be able to find these tarot cards as you're running around doing your mapping experience. And then you're just going to have random effects that are going to pop up and kind of potentially give you different challenges and different rewards. And then you're going to be able to go and move these into this kind of board game system where we go through and we build up reward chests that as you kind of push forward down this big Monopoly board, you can potentially make your chests even more valuable and give you more rewards. And then that's going to lead into a big kind of boss fight here, where you end up fighting a whole bunch of different tarot card effects all at the same time. And it's going to be very challenging and probably extremely rewarding for this. And the big thing that you're going to be getting, the big thing you're going to be getting in terms of rewards for this is they are redoing the entire pack system in a really big way. So this is the new pack system here. It's called Destiny. And basically a lot of the little nodes are getting replaced, where you're going to be able to basically put in different items into them, these little Destiny things, which can give you different resistances, give you a whole bunch of other stuff. And there's a whole, patch notes with all of different stuff. And it will really just fill in a lot of different weak points in your build. And you can potentially find some of these that are a lot more powerful later on, like a max fire resistance, for example. There's a whole bunch of ones that are legendary as well. And so there's some really cool different mechanics here that are really just popping off. And I think this is going to lead to a lot of interesting build diversity this season. And also it's just making it so that the Pactspirit experience is a little bit less ridiculous. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. Now, another thing with the Pactspirit stuff is that they are making it so that you can have 3 battle Pactspirits active at a time, while also having 3 of your drop Pactspirits active at a time, which is probably a little bit of a step backwards in the pay to win kind of aspect. However, it's nice just to be able to have all of your stuff active at the same time. There's definitely plenty of times last season where I was I need to pick between more drops and more damage. This kind of sucks. Now you're just going to be able to kind of do both at any time. And they just kind of reworked the Pactspirit system so it's a little bit easier to understand as well. Now, also, they are adding a new champion, new hero, as they always do. And don't worry, all of the other heroes are completely free to play now, all of the previous ones. So if you didn't get to play Selena last season, you can go play that 100% for free. But if you want to play the new one, Iris, Vigilant Breeze, you will have to probably buy the Battle Pass. And, I always just recommend getting the Battle Pass. It's pretty good. And she is a little bit different than the other Iris, as opposed to kind of being a commander of minions. She kind of treats her minions like a battle mech almost, where she will take direct control of one of them. And you can kind of see her flying behind these different minions, and you are actively using the minion skills yourself. And so you're basically hopping in it like it's a giant mecha, Shinji get in the mech type of situation, which is pretty cool. They're also adding 2 new Spirit Maguses, a physical earth guy who does a kind of a spin to win move. And they're adding this really cool corrosion void Magus, basically, which is got some really giant explosions, which are pretty neat. And I think that there's going to be a couple of different builds for this particular hero. especially because she can really just use any of the spirit maguses. There's going to be 5 different ones now. It's just going to be really powerful. But like these like giant purple explosions look really neat. Definitely pretty interested in playing this because it's a different type of minion build than what we would normally kind of see, where you're like kind of, directing minions around. Instead, you're going to be like kind of becoming the minion, which I think is kind of neat. They're also improving a lot of the legendary gear. One of the things that they did 2 seasons ago is they had like a huge legendary crafting thing, and it was kind of ridiculously overtuned. And it was pretty much like the season of everybody's wearing almost all legendary gear. And so they kind of removed all of that this past season, but now they are kind of going through and making some legendaries a little bit more powerful and making them just like a lot more interesting to go and get. And there's a whole huge patch notes of all of these, but definitely nice to see some major improvements, whether it be some more legendaries that you probably are going to chase, some more big dopamine hits when they drop. It kind of always sucks in ARPGs when like the uniques for the game are pretty much like 99% bad, and there's like only like 1 or 2 things that are pretty good. Having more good uniques, I think, is just really good for the game. They're also going through and they're adding more support skills for specific skills. This is something we got last season. I kind of was wondering if it was going to be a one and done type of thing, but they're adding more supports for different skills that didn't get any previously. So like Shadow Swamp here turns basically into a Righteous Fire, or I guess into Purple Fire. Moonstrike's getting this crazy lunar ring thing, and there's just like going to be a lot more cool stuff. Not all of these are in the patch notes just yet, but some of these look very, very interesting. I'm very much interested to see like kind of how many different crazy builds come out of these. I really do think that there was a lot of kind of OP builds that kind of went under the radar last season because certain builds were incredibly strong, like the Surging Inspiration hat, and we didn't really get to see everybody using all of them. And so interesting to see how some of this shakes out for this season. Now, speaking of builds that were a little bit underpowered, a lot of the hero traits are getting some buffs here. Specifically, my boy Rayhan here. He's getting some insane buffs this season. One of the problems was that cooldown reduction was a super ultra premium stat with the new itemization system, and it was just really difficult to kind of like get your cooldown really popping off. And so the new rampaging here can give you basically more cooldown based off your attack speed. And they just really kind of went through and like did touch up a lot of different hero champs to make them a little bit more viable, and stuff like this is going to be really, really cool. And Rayhan also probably got the best cosmetic I've probably ever seen, which we'll talk about here in a little bit as well. They also went and they made some improvements to basically how damage numbers are dealt with. So previously, if you're doing a really slow hitting skill, you pretty much should be capped out at 500 billion, which kind of felt bad. And what they did instead is they made it so that the per frame thing, instead of being 1 frame where you can hit 500 billion, you can hit like, very, very fast attacking skills, had a huge benefit there. Now it counts across 3 frames. So a very slow hitting skill basically has the ability to hit 1.5 trillion. I don't know why it shows Qs, but this is just like going to help out with builds that hit a lot slower, as opposed to it always being about builds that are super duper fast hitting. Now they're also adding a new game mode, and this is called City Defense. And it's pretty interesting because like the boss ladder thing that we had from last season, which is returning and getting improved, this is a 2-player co-op thing where you basically need to defend your city. And this can also reward a free legendary Pactspirit, which is pretty cool. Definitely interesting to see some, multiplayer content. And looking at this here, there's stuff like find a team, create a room, there's team matching. So I'm sure that this is the type of stuff you could probably just queue up. Maybe there'll be some builds that are incredibly overpowered and we'll just do this and just be able to carry people. But I'm pretty hyped to see that they're just adding new and different type of content and just another way to get free pack spirits. It might be incredibly difficult. We'll have to see how hard it is, but I'm sure this is something that we'll definitely be making videos about in the upcoming season. They're also returning the content from last season, the canvas, and very hyped about this. They pretty much like consolidated everything quite a bit. Basically, they're making it so you can now drop the paper basically in every map, and you don't have to go and gather paint anymore. So if you have enough paper, you pretty much spread out the canvas, immediately get to painting right away, and you just get right onto the canvas, which I think is going to be pretty wild. Typically, these were very rewarding, especially if you could go and, you know, get some good rewards out of this or do it at a high tier. And so I could really see this being a super duper viable way for you to make currency if you are trying to sell the paper, or if you're trying to run these for yourself, especially if you're able to run them at the higher tiers, where you're going to be getting some of those better skills. And like I might even just be sitting inside the frozen canvas the entire time, because I really enjoyed the mechanic previously, and not having to gather the paint is just kind of a positive thing for me. Then the next thing we're getting is kind of like a reliquary key, if you would, Sprout of Legends. This allows you to basically crack open a room where you can go and put in a number of sprouts, and this will add guaranteed legendary chests inside of this like special room. And once you go in there, you just open up the chests, and they supposedly have a better chance at legendary, like higher tier legendary gear. And so you could potentially get like, you know, the tippity top and kind of stuff like Eternity, or the new Lone Walker boots, which they did improve, which is pretty cool. The Supreme Showdown is coming back once again, and they continue to make it so that the level 20, which is now a new boss, is going to be the point that you do need to clear in order to get your free legendary Pactspirit. However, it is a new boss, so there is no more pirate duo as the level 20. It is instead going to be probably a more painful boss, but supposedly it should be easier this season with some of the changes that they made in terms of like with the Pactspirit stuff and just other mechanics to make it easier. The False God of Symbiosis, which is basically both of the Dark Surge versions of the boss at the same time. But then on top of that, they did add like a prestige tier of basically this mechanic, which is stage 21. And this does not give you any crazy rewards. It basically gives you a frame, 50 FE back, and then 20 jagged. So this is really just for the people that really want to flex on people, which I think is great. They should have had this from the very beginning. I don't ever feel like the tippity top tier should be the thing that you kind of need to clear in order to like actually get everything through. And so having kind of this like prestige tier of this, I think is just very, very good. Now, if Torchlight Infinite is really known for anything, it is the quality of life that they are like constantly knocking out of the park. And really like almost everything that I've ever experienced as a pain point in one season, the next season, they really do a good job of kind of like honing that down. And one of my biggest gripes this past season was dream interpretation, because it was incredibly annoying. And yeah, I guess except the cube. The cube coveting, I think, is still kind of bad. But dream interpretation is really quite insane now. So you notice a couple of things here right away. I actually don't know if this is going to be a real mechanic here, but you might notice that these boots here have 3 slots for base affixes. And if we go and we look at the boots here as they're highlighting over it, it seems like we could potentially get 3 positive mods and 3 negative mods. And so there's definitely some potential here to get some cool stuff. When you dream, you're going to get 3 different options, and you can either activate it right away, or you can abandon it, or you can just re-roll right away without having to really do anything. And so if you don't like the mods that you're getting, you just way faster, which is, I think, just super insanely good. it was really annoying having to go and click through stuff. And just showing off the battle pack spirit stuff here. You basically have a battle pack spirit set up, a drop pack spirit, and now you can basically set this up for your entire account for the like basically like you're like, hey, I want to have all my drop pack spirits for this. I want to have my city set up. I want to have my dream set up. All of these things. You don't have to do it for every single one of your alts. You can just pull them across. And so it's just a one-time setup thing, which I think is just such a huge amount of quality of life. This is absolutely insane. And being able to have both your drop and your battle pack spirits active at the same time is just super duper nice. They did go through and they made compasses quite a bit better from what we understand. They made like the top end compasses better. They like raised up the bottom ones as well. And we're gonna get a little bit less drops of these, which I think is perfectly fine because I had like stack on stack on stack of the like the lowest level compasses, just absolutely just like coming out of my ears. And so just having better compasses in general, I think is just gonna be a nice quality of life. And then they gave us something to do with our flame sand. So now it's 300 flame sand to a flame elementium. So at least there's something to do with it, which is pretty nice. You definitely get to a point where you don't need flame sand at all for anything. And the fact that it automatically gets picked up was kind of a negative. And now it's just like free flame elementium instead. They also went through and they improved the path of progression. This is going to be getting reset. So we're basically going to get a whole bunch of free rewards once again, which is pretty cool. Very, very hyped up for this. And there's just a lot more information here. The auction house has more quality of life here, both for researching the same stuff that you were looking for before, and also some price settings are a little bit easier to see. So you can set it not only by per unit, but by total stack. So you don't accidentally buy something that's like super expensive, but at a good ratio. And then also like searching, price checking the like activation mediums now actually makes sense, as opposed to like you had to go through and like manually code it in order to get one to actually work correctly, which I think is just better. There's notifications for when you make sales, and they've improved some of the help manual stuff as well. Mobile is also getting a little bit of love. They're updating the Pactspirit stuff, but then we are getting a special anniversary login event where day 1, day 2, day 1, day 3, day 5, you're gonna get 100 jagged. And then on day 7, you're getting a legendary battle Pactspirit selection chest. And so it's pretty much going to be like a lot, or if not maybe all. Let me move out of the way. A ton of different options here for battle Pactspirits. And this is just going to be really, really insane, especially now that you can have your battle Pactspirits active like all of the time. Just very nice quality of life. And it's free. All you got to do is log in. Log in. And basically log in, I think it's probably going to be like a long running event, because there's also the 7-day login as well. And we're also getting a special event as well, probably to celebrate the new year. And this is going to give you a ton of battle Pactspirit crystals as well, which is going to like allow you to pull for one of the new Pactspirits. And by the way, if you pull on the seasonal battle pact spirits, you are literally going to get a guarantee. There's no 50-50. If you pull legendary, you're going to get the legendary on the banner that you're pulling for, which I think is a nice change as well. As you can see here, when obtaining a legendary Pactspirit, you are guaranteed to get the Pactspirit you picked. And I think this is just for that particular season. So maybe not all of them, but I definitely think that that is a really good thing. And they did not change the odds or anything as well. Lastly, let's talk about the cosmetic stuff. The new Iris appearance looks pretty cool. And of course, she comes with a whole bunch of, Spirit Magus stuff to make the Spirit Maguses she uses look really neat and really cool, which I think is very great. We have like this crazy DBZ portal thing going on. I don't know what this is. This is some sort of portal as well. It appears to maybe like track the amount of time you've been in the map. I think that people will probably be spending even more time in the map if they get this portal. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. New drop appearances as well. And then this is actually Rayhan. This is Rayhan 1 and 2. And this is the first gender bend cosmetic that you can apply to your Rayhan. And it'd be either Rayhan 1, Rayhan 2. And now instead of being big beefy boy, he'd be sexy Viking chick here. And if you're playing Rayhan 2, the like spirit that comes out behind you is this giant wolf, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much what to expect with this upcoming season. It is going to be dropping on the 9th. I forget what the exact time is here, but there's also this little code you can get and use right now. If you go log into the game, the 0104TLSS7. If you want to claim this, you just press escape, redeem code, paste it in there. And yeah, it seems really, really crazy. I honestly don't know what I'm going to play yet. I think Iris seems pretty cool. Fem Rayhan also seems pretty cool. Rayhan has a lot of positive changes as well. So we're not going to see what we're going to end up playing, but I'm very, very hyped up for this. I think it's going to be really, really great. And probably doing another video talking about like if you're a PoE2 fan who has never played TLI, I'm going to do a video talking about like specifically why I think you should check this game out, because there's really so many good things about TLI that it's just super duper fun, very underrated game. And yeah, it looks like the launch is going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I believe this might be a wrong time. I'll maybe put a comment down below on the like a pinned comment or something like that with the actual time. And I'll put a link to the patch notes as well down there as well. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you again soon, and come check out Torchlight. Later.